Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Cabral HouseCalls. This is the weekend edition of the Cabral Concept, where we open up that giant document we have of all of the thousands of questions that have come in over the past few years to the show. And of course, we are checking them off each and every week as we go along. Every Saturday and Sunday, it seems to be that we get to about 6 questions each day. So about 12 questions a weekend, 50 questions or so, I guess that would be per month. So again, many thousands of questions answered over the years. We are approximately 4 to 5 weeks behind on the questions that are coming in. And so, of course, if you've answered or you wrote in before August 6th, your question has already been answered. And if you wrote in after August 6th, your question will be coming up today or it will be coming up on a future Cabral House Call. So love being able to listen in on what you have going on in your life, helping, of course, to the best of my ability, and making sure that you're given a second opinion, that you're given another place to look in terms of what you might be not currently looking at in terms of your health, your weight loss, your wellness, your anti-aging, but also maybe something that's not going right quite now and what we can do to turn that around. So love being able to see these questions, answer these questions. I am very grateful for this amazing community. And without further ado, let's answer some of those questions. The first question today is from Stephanie. She's saying, I started getting skin rashes and acne every time I ate gluten, nuts, or eggs. I removed that, and then I started to get or reacted to a bunch of different foods too, such as seeds, dairy, numerous vegetables, avocados, coconut, and herbs, and the list goes on. I did an organic acids test, which showed some yeast, but not a massive overgrowth, which was odd considering all my symptoms. I then proceeded with the CBO protocol and just finished today. Hoping that I can finally start eating foods again, it looks like I'm still reacting to everything. At this point, I'm so hopeless because I was taking zinc and glutamine during those 12 weeks to sail the gut wall. I continue getting the acne and skin rashes with a bunch of foods, and I don't know what's going on. My HTMA showed some mercury, but nothing too extreme either. Thanks. Okay, Stephanie, absolutely understand where you're coming from. I can understand where you're frustrated as well. When you've done the CBO protocol and you've sealed up the gut wall, you can feel pretty confident that that gut's in good shape. So now we need to look at the endocrine system, the nervous system, and the immune system as well. And one issue is chronic inflammation. So let's look at other areas that might be keeping you chronically inflamed. Overexercising, alcohol, hormones like birth control or bioidentical hormones. Like I said, under exercising. We can also begin to look at a congested liver or kidneys for part of this as well. So make sure you're doing the CBO finisher for 12 weeks. And then what I'd like to see you do, again, so I always have to put in the disclaimer, I'm not treating any disease. I'm not giving any treatment protocols. I'm not diagnosing any disease. I'm also not providing any cures. What I do on this show is provide you with health-based education and overall looking at the underlying root causes, but not treating disease, okay? So I would, if I was in this position, do a 21-day functional medicine detox. I would really open up those liver detox pathways, and I would potentially look at a lower histamine-based diet or almost like an autoimmune paleo-based protocol in the beginning, and then ease the inflammation off the immune system, and then gradually add one food group back in 1 week at a time. Thank you, Stephanie. Samantha's up next. Hi, Dr. Brawl. Can you explain why Fatlocity PM helps me more with getting to sleep than the deep sleep protocol? I've had sleep issues for a while. I do take Vivanase, which is an ADHD stimulant, And I know that makes sleep a challenge for many, but Fatlocity PM has been a game changer for me. I'm wondering if it's okay to continue long-term with what ingredient is in Fatlocity that's not in the deep sleep protocol, which could be making the difference. Thanks so much. You're amazing. Sincerely, Samantha. Samantha, thank you for writing in. And you are not the first person that has written in. Many people say they're using the Fatlocity system, not just for weight loss or for weight system or for weight maintenance, but actually for energy in the morning and being able to sleep at night. That is how it's been built. So the Fatlocity system is based on more than 25 studies that I formulated over a period of 18 months. There was a lot of science that went into this. I actually worked, so I came up with the formula. And then we have a chief formulating scientist on my team. And I said, please cross-reference these ingredients that I took from Ayurveda and from orthomolecular medicine. Find the dosages in the scientific research that state how much needs to be used. Find the very best ingredient in the market here, Europe. And that is what we're going to create our product. And it is by far and away the most expensive product we have ever created for ourselves. We don't pass along a lot of that expense like a lot of companies do, but we know it's an amazing product. So what you're getting in the Fatlocity PM is not too far different in terms of the deep sleep protocol if you're using the Adrenal Soothe, the magnesium, the deep sleep actual capsules, and then it would not include melatonin. So you are getting, though, all of that in one product, plus even a little bit more for some people. So although you're not getting the melatonin, you're getting other nutrients. You're getting more zinc, you're getting some of the B vitamins in there, and you're getting more Ayurvedic-based herbs. So the phospholycerate, you're getting so much in there that helps with circulation. What I would invite you to do is I would actually invite you to check out the 5 podcasts I did detailing exactly how the Fatlocity system works, because I always give away all the trade secrets, and I think that'll probably hold more answers for you, but you can easily do a side-by-side comparison of the ingredients as well. But here's the thing. That's why I don't want to get too deep into this. Keep using the product. Absolutely. Continue using the product. There is no mega doses in there, and these are all very helpful nutrients that your body, Samantha, clearly was looking for. So thank you, Samantha, for writing in, and keep on keeping on. Annie's up next. Hello, I'm looking to purchase a weighted blanket. We have a non-toxic mattress and organic bedding, so I'd like to get a weighted blanket that is also non-toxic, etc. Do you have one? Annie, that is a great question. I am actually going to put that in my notes right now. We need to look for a weighted blanket that's non-toxic. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to find one for you, Annie, and in the next 6 weeks, I'm going to put one on the podcast because I know there's a lot of weighted blankets out there and people love it for helping them feel more relaxed, increase in the parasympathetic nervous system. I'm going to find one, Annie, and I'm going to talk about it on a Friday review within the next, hopefully, 6 weeks. All right, Lal's up. Hi, Dr. Brawl. Me again. Thanks, Lal. Lal, I know your name for sure. I hope you don't mind me having so many questions, but I feel you are an amazing and very trustworthy source of information. Thank you, Lal. I appreciate that. Listen to your podcast. And asking you questions here makes me feel like I'm learning a lot every day, and getting real answers helps me with anxiety about all the contradictory information in today's world. Thank you again. I listened to your answer on juicing watermelon rinds if they're not organic, and I have a follow-up question. You said to soak all produce in a solution of apple cider vinegar and water instead of sodium bicarbonate water. Could you please explain why a bit more? What is the difference between the two? Why is one better than the other? And is it important what kind of vinegar? Some people here mostly use alcohol vinegar for cleansing. Is that okay or not for soaking produce? And also, how much would you use? For how long would you soak? Thanks for your help. Have an amazing day, everyone. Thank you, Lal. Thanks for the kind words. Appreciate you. So I've answered this a couple times now. Here's the difference. When you put solution of apple cider vinegar and water, you can check out my podcast I did on produce washing. It's very acidic. And acid kills bacteria, fungus, mold, etc. That is why you can use vinegar as a household cleaner on your counters, etc. You have to be careful that it's not marble, but just sharing that with you, okay? But you don't necessarily use sodium bicarb to clean your counters. Sodium bicarb is extremely alkaline. It is the opposite. It's acid and base. Vinegar, acid, sodium bicarb base. Okay, so one's more alkaline, that's the base. One's more acidic, that's the vinegar. So sodium bicarb or an alkaline-based solution does also kill bacteria, et cetera, et cetera. The difference is that you can get guaranteed results with the vinegar. That's that Boston accent coming out. The vinegar, but you don't always get guaranteed results with the sodium bicarb, and that's because it's based on how alkaline it is. It really has to be alkaline to kill a lot of that virus, bacteria, etc. So it's just much easier, in my opinion, to use the vinegar. Okay, so that's why I do that, because I can get guaranteed results. So about 20 to 30 minutes, and I do not use alcoholic vinegar. I use Bragg's apple cider vinegar, but you could use any raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar. Hopefully that helps. Tonya is up next. Tonya. I'd like to know your opinion on alkaline, electric, vegan lifestyle, if there is anything to the African biomineral balance. Okay, I've actually spoken about this a bit. I think Dr. Sebi, some people pronounce him Dr. Sebi's work, is quite interesting. This is not the only person to speak about this, but certainly have looked into many of the herbs that they do recommend and use, such as, let's say, an Irish moss, a sea moss. Let's look a lot of the ones in the Isiac tea Dr. Sebi uses. Let's see what else. Another big one would be sarsaparilla. So I think they're very interesting. And again, any vegan whole food, not processed food, let's not even talk about lifestyle, but let's just say diet is very cleansing, but it's also very catabolic. So you just have to be careful that you do not literally begin to go into what's called wasting disease or muscle wasting or breaking down too much. So do understand that maintaining health is about balance. It is truly about creating equilibrium, and your body is in a dynamic flux or dynamic equilibrium at all times. It's bouncing back and forth, always trying to maintain balance. Homeostasis, equilibrium, one and the same. So, I think that everybody should look into a plant-based, alkaline-based diet that is good to learn about. Do I think it's the end-all, be-all? No, because nothing is the end-all, be-all, right? Nothing is the end-all, be-all. That's the thing, is like, you'll always be wrong if you feel like you're always right about one thing. So that's the thing. And I try to share that with people over and over. Exercise is great until it's not. A vegan-based diet is great until it's not. Again, you can be very healthy on a vegan-based diet for life as long as you understand the principles behind it. As long as you understand if you're becoming too catabolic, you begin to add in more of vegan-based proteins and healthy vegan-based fats. So again, it's always, there's a give and take to everything. And the people that would benefit most from this more of a vegan-based diet, and what you're speaking about right now, and more of like a Dr. Sebi or Sebi cleansing plan, because that's really what it is, would be more of the endomorphic-based body type, at least in the beginning. All right, thank you, Tania. Okay, Nicole's up next. But again, nothing but respect for Dr. Sebi and his work. Hi, Dr. Cabral. I'm so glad your podcast was recommended to me by one of your listeners. Wish I would have found you years ago so I wouldn't need to be asking these questions. My daughter, 6, has had stomach pain for about 2 years, mostly around her belly button. And when asked what it feels like, she says, it feels like puke. Headaches seem to be correlated also all the time. Doctors kept saying it was anxiety and told me the x-ray showed constipation. She has soft, normal-looking bowel movements every day. GI doctor wanted to give her medication. Did a food sensitivity, found that she had sensitivities to eggs and dairy, which she ate every day. Since changing the diet, I would say she's 90% better. I just want to stop there for a second. Nicole, this is why we do what we do. This is why integrative health practitioners do what they do. And that's the truth. 90% better when Nicole found that the biggest issue her daughter was dealing with was eating eggs and dairy that she most likely thought was healthy, because why would Nicole ever give her daughter anything that she didn't believe was to her benefit? So Nicole was doing everything that she thought was right. But the problem is we do things that we don't know are actually harmful. This is why at-home functional medicine lab testing is a game changer. That's the truth, right? So I did a lot of things growing up that I thought were okay. So did my parents. Turns out some of them weren't. And that's okay. We learn from it. We grow from it. And now your daughter, well, she'll be able to teach her children one day too. Okay. So sorry, Nicole. I love hearing that. It's why I do what I do. It really is. I mean, this is it, right? After doing it for this long, which again, in the grand scheme of things, isn't a super long time, but I've worked with so many people that I feel like I've lived many lives, which again, I'm very, very happy and grateful for. So Nicole goes on to say, we started your parasite protocol on July 28th. I plan to buy your gut support protocol after completing the parasite cleanse. Is this what you would do? I know you recommend the vitamin acids test and stool test for gut problems, but I can't afford them right now. What else might help? I thought maybe enzymes to help her break down things her gut cannot. We made progress, but I really want her at 100% and never to hear her say her stomach hurts. Thank you so much for all I have learned so far. Nicole, thank you. This is why I do the show every day. It's for success stories like this, and I'm very grateful for you writing in and so happy to hear this about your daughter. So let's get down to it. Yes, absolutely. I recommend the Candida metabolic and vitamins test along with the bacteria and parasite stool test because your daughter could have H. pylori. She could have yeast overgrowth. She could have bacterial overgrowth. Now, let's say that you don't want to run the lab testing because it's too expensive. I understand. I wish it was covered by health insurance. It's not because it doesn't diagnose disease. What it does is it shows underlying root causes for how disease manifests. So you could begin the children's CBO protocol, and then you could also add in the mastic gum, okay? So you could do that instead of running the labs if you'd like to, and then you could do a quarter to a third of a dosage or half dosage of the CBO finisher. So yeah, I think you're doing great. Again, I can't give you treatment protocols. There's no disease being diagnosed here, but you're doing so great. I love to see it. I really do. Again, I wish nothing but you and your daughter the best, and I think an enzyme would be great. And then always keep a bottle of the gluten and dairy enzymes, the gluten and dairy support on hand, so that if your daughter is ever at a party or a barbecue or whatever, she doesn't have to feel too bad about maybe getting in some of those foods that she doesn't digest as well, because she could take one or two of the gluten and dairy support enzymes as well. Thank you, Nicole. Inga's up next. Dear Dr. Cabral, I recently found your podcast and have fallen in love with it. Your teachings are clear and very helpful. I know you are not a pediatrician, but my 1-year-old son has been diagnosed with eczema. He also has a stuffy nose all the time. I was wondering if there's a link between the two. Is there anything you would suggest for him? He is still breastfeeding, but also eats solid foods. Little sugar. Thank you for all your help, and I appreciate your time. And Inga, I'll get rid of your last name. Okay. Inga, thank you for writing in. I have written about eczema so many times. I would love you to go to stevencabral.com/podcasts and check out all my previous podcasts on eczema. You will see a direct correlation. So psoriasis and eczema are actually a little bit different. Psoriasis, I find 9 out of 10 times induced by stress coupled with gut imbalances, whether that be yeast or bacterial overgrowth or simply gut permeability. Stress is the triggering event for gut-based issues. I see that with psoriasis over and over. Now, eczema, I see with food sensitivities. So, Inga, whether those sensitivities are coming from your milk, because you're nursing your child, or they're coming from the new solids that your child's adding in, is very likely the case. And yes, the stuffy nose is most likely tied. So, as a doctor of naturopathy that is board certified who works with all ages, and I have 2 young daughters, I can tell you, yes, I'm not giving you medical advice, but I see the two correlated all the time. If I could run 2 labs, well, let's say I could only run one lab for your child. No, you know what? Let's stop the labs. Not even the labs for you. Inga, the first thing I would do is remove dairy, eggs, and gluten from your child's diet. You can find other type of milk alternative. You can obviously find gluten alternatives. And in terms of eggs, you can just remove them for now. Do this for 3 weeks to 4 weeks. If the stuffy nose goes away, the eczema begins to go away or is completely gone, then there you have it. It was one of those 3 food sensitivities. And you can simply try to add one back at a time every 2 to 3 weeks and see what happens. So again, it's just a starting point, but I've seen this over and over and over and over and over. And I've seen it enough now to say, this is typically the culprit. Now, it could be any food that your child's eating. So if it wasn't the gluten, the dairy, or the eggs, well, then you could look at other foods. But first, do the elimination of those three, because those are the big three that when people run a food sensitivity test, I see those come sensitive all the time. And your child's only one, so their food sensitivities, of course, are going to be a little bit higher until they're 2 years old, because typically at 2 years old, then the gut wall is less permeable and there's less that seeps through. So again, thank you for writing in. Go back, check out the previous shows if you'd like on eczema as well for more complete information. Thank you everyone for tuning into another Cabral House Call. I appreciate all of you, all the kind words that people write in with, and all of your reviews. If you haven't left a review yet for the Cabral Concept on iTunes or any of your media players, I would greatly appreciate that. It takes less than a minute to just leave a review, 5 stars saying the show's helped in some way. And of course, that helps us to rise in the charts and reach more people. And if you've done that, or you would like to leave a review for The Rain Barrel Effect on Amazon, where I teach all of the same information as well inside of that book, 100% of profits go to charity. That would be amazing as well. Small ask, if you're able to do it, it would be very much appreciated. I read all of those reviews. Thank you so much. Take care. Have an amazing day, and we'll be answering more questions tomorrow on our next Cabral House Call. I want to sincerely thank you for your support of this podcast. I couldn't do it without you, and I mean that. I truly do. I also want to make sure you knew that we now have multiple ways for you to find your answers to the most difficult health, wellness, weight loss, and anti-aging questions. You can find podcast-specific topics like thyroid, adrenal, hormones, sleep, digestion, Ayurveda, and many more at stevencabral.com/podcasts that will then link you to your favorite Apple, Spotify, and other podcast players. Plus, all new podcasts and weekly exclusive video content is being added to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Stephen Cabral. And that's Stephen with a PH. Head on over and subscribe so that you don't miss any of the exclusive content. Lastly, if you've ever found any of my podcasts or books to be helpful, I would really appreciate it if you could leave a review on iTunes or your favorite media player for the podcast. Rating and subscribing to the YouTube and podcast allow me to reach more and more people and help spread my mission of healing throughout the world. Thank you again for being a part of this movement.